have something that I've been super excited to be able to bring to you guys. We have a brand new t-shirt design, and this stems from all the way back from where I was putting the supercharger on Leroy. It's just something that I'm always about, so let's make some freaking power. I'm so stoked with the way that it came out. The guys totally nailed it. The t-shirt is available for pre-order on our website, so guys, you gotta go to the store and check out that, as well as some of our other stickers and goofy shirts that we have. They're freaking awesome. The link for the shirts is in the description. Let's get back to the video. Hey guys, welcome back to Fasterproms YouTube channel. We are here with our subscriber donated Crown Vic, and this thing has been an absolute blast. I wanted to give a huge shout out to Michael K for donating us this vehicle, and we are kind of guiding it and directing it the way that we want to modify it. And we're going to have a hell of a lot of fun with this thing and take a lot of people for some really enjoyable rides. We're taking some steps right now to be able to make a little bit more power, and here's one of them. My buddy Keith from Keith's Pit Stop had a 4.6 intake manifold. These things are notorious for breaking right around here. They crack and they break and they puke coolant all over the place. He had a good working one, and we're going to replace the aluminum one that we have right here. Now, I'm not sure if this is the updated intake manifold or not, but I do know that this one is in good working order. So guys, we are setting this thing up for boost, and if this is anything just like the LS manifolds, this thing could easily hold like 30 pounds of boost. We have done it before, and this is very much the same design. It's about a 2 or 3 piece friction welded manifold, no problem whatsoever in order to be able to take that. So this is the intake manifold that we got when the car was donated to us. This is definitely something that is pretty brute strong. We really don't like the fact that that thing heat soaks so badly. An aluminum intake manifold like this, and especially what we've seen on like the LS stuff, these things do lose a lot of power. In some instances, we've seen about 20 wheel horsepower loss because of the intake air temperature getting so hot. A few episodes back on the Crown Vic project, we had tested that and did pick up a good amount of power by cooling that thing down. Ideally, what we want to try and do is have that plastic intake manifold. It's not really going to vary much at all. It's going to pretty much average a decent amount of power. And if we can keep this thing away from spark knock, that is most certainly the plan. All right, this big heavy thing. So not that it matters, but this thing probably weighs about 5 or 6 times what that puppy weighs. So that's got some Cobra 39-pound injectors. We have some injectors that a buddy of ours, Matt from Canada, hooked us up with, and they are some 60-pounders. That should be able to do everything that we want to do. Now, actually, we haven't looked at the heads yet. So this is these Patriot heads, and well, dang.
We got some cleaning to do.
Yeah. Let's get rid of that intake gasket there. That could be a problem right there. We just got to suck that out, and I think we're going to be good to go. But yeah, we can see the CNC ported part of the heads there.
They're pretty big runners.
They are. They are. The exhausts, though, are so freaking tiny. Cleaned up pretty darn nicely right there. I like how it's kind of got that little drain hole right there. You can just kind of... So we are finally wrapped up. What do you say, Laz?
It's not 1 a.m., but it is 101.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking dank, humid, and bleh. Welcome to the swamp here. All right, so there was a few little hitches that we had. So we didn't have the intake manifold gasket. The coolant temperature sensor was a little bit different. The intake or the coil bolts were like a different thread. There's a few little snags, but other than that, everything else pretty much
straightforward.
We are one step closer to getting this thing ready to go for the turbo. So that is exciting. I'm glad we got this done. That is definitely a big step. So after we put the OEM intake manifold on there, Michael had reminded us that, hey, I have a programmer in the car that I gave you with the car. It was sitting in the glove box the entire time, and we had completely forgot about it whatsoever. So honest mistake there, but we're playing around with the programmer right now. I just loaded up a different tune and trying to see if this thing's gonna make any more power or less. Just trying to see what we can do to control the air fuel and the spark advance with some greater depth. Now, HP Tuners just started supporting this platform this early. I talked to one of the engineers at HP Tuners, and he was saying, hey, a lot of the data, you're not gonna be able to really tune with it. It's very erratic. We're working the bugs out. It will be set. It could be a week. It could be a couple months. So I'm looking forward to that. But right now, I have to deal with this programmer. Now, the programmer that I'm using, I have no idea what's in it. I thought that all the tunes that were in this were very similar, maybe just a couple different parameters changed. Not the case. I really don't know what tune is in it, so we're gonna find out what kind of power it makes and see what happens from from there. Now I took this thing out the other day and I saw that it had an absolutely pathetic timing curve in it. So somewhere in the neighborhood of like 7 to 17 degrees. Very, very low, so as you step on the car, it felt like there was a power lull. Well, there was a power lull, but it was because the timing curve was so low. So this is heavy throttle right here with the car, and it has about 12 degrees. That goes down to about 7.5 degrees, and up at the top right before we shift, about 17 degrees right there. So really, really, really weak curve. Really kind of curbs the power, and then it kind of comes back in all right, but we need a lot more all the way through. This is really set up for more like a boost curve right there. All right, so I just added about 4 degrees global spark. So that means 4 degrees all the way across the board from idle all the way up through red line. So let's see what this thing did. All right, so here we go. Looks like we did get about 4 degrees more advance right there. Going from about 9 degrees up to about 21. Not a very big pickup whatsoever. As the power goes up and comes back down right there, that is where we're having more spark advance. And then it goes less. So the power goes up where we have advance and then trails back down. We really, really need a lot more. I'm very, very limited with what I can do. It's very crude. It's not at all meant for being, you know, really fine tuning, trying to get the most out of it. It's made for making some very small adjustments if necessary. So right now the power seems very, very low. I have no idea what's going on with that. I didn't have a baseline before on the data logging with the scanner. So I'm loading in another tune right now. I'm gonna find out what kind of spark curve that has. Hopefully the thing will make a bit more power, and we'll be ready for this turbocharger. So it's very important for us to understand what the limitation of the spark is at the moment, and then go from there and see where we can go with boost. Once we understand our limitation, then we can throw boost at it and be very, very safe and have no sort of problem whatsoever. All right, well, we're data logging. We don't have a lot of parameters to data log at all. So we have basically 7 parameters that we're scanning at the moment. We did not make any better power there, really. Well, actually, no, sorry, we did. Hold on, holy crap, we made a lot more torque, actually. Let's see what's up with that. Wow, 19 degrees on up to 22 degrees there. So a boatload more spark advance down there, and that is going to make a lot more of a torque gain right there. Okay, major, major gains right there. Major gains. That thing picked up like 30 pound-feet of torque right there. I know this sounds like a completely rookie move, but I don't know what tune was in the vehicle. There was basically an entry that said NA new engine, and that's what I put in there right now. So there are 4 tunes in this right now. There's a stock tune, the NA new engine tune, the EGR on, EGR off. So I'm just checking all these different parameters, seeing what has the most spark curve, and I might even just put the stock one back in, even though we have bigger injectors, just to test the timing curve and see what the stock curve really is. So we'll find out. I'm learning as we go here. All right, so we lost a bunch of torque there. Yeah, same story. Super low on the timing right there, 9 degrees. But it does go up to about 24 at the very, very top. I just put the stock calibration back in. I have no idea what's gonna happen. This thing has heads, cam, bigger injectors, different mass airflow, full exhaust. I don't know what it's gonna do, but I have a very good idea. That's actually a hell of a lot better than I thought. Let's give her a rip and see what happens here. Definitely shifts a little softer. Oh man, well that did not work. We have found the tune that we were going to load in, and it is not that one. So super weak timing curve, but we were off the chart rich. You heard it breaking up and all that business. Made 160 wheel horsepower and 215 pound-feet of torque. So just off the chart, super ugly, nasty. I now just took 3 degrees of timing out of that curve, just trying to see how much of an impact it had on the power. Just trying to understand how much power we're gaining per degree of timing. It's a very, very important factor right before we put the turbo on. All right, so 2 244, 267. Air fuel's a little bit richer. I'm actually totally okay with that curve right there. So at this curve right here, I think that we'll be able to probably run 8 or 9 pounds of boost without spark knocking. So that gives me a lot of confidence going in. Yeah, so in some areas right there, we're really looking at such a small difference in power. Right there is 5 pound-feet of torque. With 3 degrees less spark advance, I'll take that any day. And the peak difference of 2 horsepower, absolutely. Let's check that out on the curve here. So there we have, we're starting at about 16 degrees and goes up to about 21 degrees. Yeah, we're gonna run that. That'll be ready to go for the turbo. Okay, we've got a couple of things that we have to address before the turbo kit goes on. So we need to get the fuel pump in there, and we are contemplating the idea of putting a return style fuel system in there with a boost reference regulator. Now that would be ideal to offer the most, but we're kind of up in the air if that is going to even be feasible and if we're going to need to push it that hard. The 485 pump that we're going to put in might be able to do the job. We're just going to stick with 93. We're not putting on E85 or anything, so the fuel demand should be less. There is like 10 pounds of crap in a 5 pound bucket here, so we've got to move a lot of things in order to make this work. We've kind of got the idea of, as you saw, some pictures of some people that put the turbo right there. Seems like we could be able to relocate this coolant tank over. These are all very preliminary ideas. We don't know if this is going to work yet. We do have to pull the headers off and put a stock manifold on there. We do have those ready and waiting to go, and we're going to try and make the turbo fit somewhere in here. So we've got to address the shroud. We don't have a lot of room in there at the moment. If we put our fan straight up next to the radiator and possibly squeeze the radiator in, we've got about an inch to play with right there. We might be able to make that work. So our piping would probably come straight off, go down into here, into the intercooler mount, come out through there, back up into where we're gonna have to move the mass air back a little bit right there. So we gotta modify where our cold air is picked up. Hopefully we can get our inlet, keep the air inlet about the same, this feeding our turbo going in like that, and have our cooler side, or compressed cooler side, going over into the mass air somewhere like that. Very important thing to address is that the turbo and its weight are, you know, over time they wiggle and jiggle and kind of fatigue the metal. So we need to be able to build a bracket, probably somewhere off of one of these bolt holes or one of those studs right there, to hold the turbo as well as what we're going to have on the exhaust. So we got to have some sort of mounts that are going to be able to hold it nice and steady. We want to be able to have the turbo move with the motor as opposed to being independent of it, and that further bolsters what I was just saying, the fact that if that is you know, that would definitely fatigue even faster and would probably break something in the exhaust. Cooper! The banana wars continue. He will pay for this. Guys, if you know anybody that has any blems, any sort of deal on blemish tires or anything like that, definitely let me know in the comments. I'm looking for something around the 225 to 255, 45/17 area. Trying to look at getting to some sort of hookup on some cheap tires because we blow through them in like 8 minutes. Guys, I know this has been a little bit slow, but we had a lot of brainstorming, just a whole lot of things going on, and that is the last video that we're going to have with the Crown Vic before we start the turbocharging. Everything is going to come together in the next couple days here, so we're trying to get the final bit of parts together overnight and whatever we got to get in, trying to do some brainstorming, make everything go smoothly as we're installing the turbo. So hopefully that works out. Want to say thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you. We'll see you soon.